Belum jadi ya. Gimana ini? I think masih ada kesalahan teknis nih. Ini harusnya di gimana ini? Itu enggak ke sana ya. Oke, jadi harus gimana? Ya benar. Biar enggak. Saya di sini aja. Oke, kayaknya nggak perlu deh. Sorry for the technical difficulties. All right, well, just want to say thank you for having me, and I just really thankful for, the Pycon APAC and Python Indonesia group for organizing this conference. I think it's really a big deal to have this conference, and like when I learned about the size, 500 people, that's big. I've run conference that's smaller than that, so this is amazing. So it's really exciting for me to be here, so thank you so much. And my name is Marietta. I traveled here to this conference from Vancouver, Canada. It took me almost 30 hours one way to come. And again, just really excited to be here. This is, the Indonesian community is always have a special place in my heart. Actually was born and raised here in Palembang. I don't know if anybody can speak Palembang language. Yeay, wong kita ada di sini. Pempa, iya dong. Yeah, this is the first time I've been back here in this country after 12 years. The last time I was here, I have one son. And now I have two, and my youngest is like almost as tall as me. So it's that long time ago. So I came here just for this conference. It's really exciting. And I hope we can stay in touch. You can get in touch with me on social media. I'm currently more active in the Mastodon, but I'm also on LinkedIn. I do Instagram, I think we all do now. I have a website, so please get in touch. Let's see. So who am I really? So right now, currently I am an independent software engineer, consulting. I have a long career as software engineer, like 20 years, but last year I decided like I'm gonna be my own boss, and I founded a company, Command Limes, CMD Limes. If you know, CMD stands for Chuck, who is here, one of the speakers here. M is Marietta, and D is Dawn Wages. So this is a consulting company founded by 3 Python women, Command Limes. That's my day job. That's what I get paid to do. But I do a lot of things in the Python community. I'm involved with the Py Ladies. I also host a podcast, Py Podcasts, where we try to highlight accomplishments of underrepresented group members in the Python community. I run this together with Chuck and Georgie and Teresa. And I totally understand how it's like to run a conference. I always have deep appreciation to anyone who runs events and conferences because I've done it. I've done it many times. I've run Pycascades in Pacific Northwest of America. I've run Pycon US, which is the largest Python conference in the world. We have like 2,000 people. So I did that for a few years. And right now I'm helping to run PyLadiesCon, which is an online Python conference for PyLadies community. And I contribute to open source, I contribute to lots of projects, and what happens when you do a lot of open source contributions, they ask you to become a maintainer. So that's how I become an open source maintainer. And I have this special title called Python Core Developer. So it's actually the maintainer of Python programming language. It's an open source maintainer for Python. And for all of the things I've done, I've got rewards, like I got cool recognitions, Google Open Source Peer Bonus twice. I've received the PSF Community Service Award. I'm also a PSF Fellow member. When there's this Mars Ingenuity helicopter which got deployed in Mars, and it uses open source projects. So I guess I have a badge that says I have code in Mars, maybe. I don't know if it's true, but somehow I have this badge. So it's really cool. And when I tell people of all these things that I do, like the only thing I get paid for is being software engineer, like all of this, running events, speaking, contributing to open source is something I do for free. And a lot of people could not understand this concept, like why are you doing things for free? Because people, they get into Python, they learn Python because they want to get a job, they want to get paid. So it doesn't make sense to volunteer. The thing is, even though I don't get paid in money, I get a lot more. So not getting paid is not the same as not getting anything out of it. In fact, the things that I got out of volunteering is really valuable, is the kind of things I could not pay money for. And when I look back and reflect, like, I've never once regretted, like I never asked myself, why am I doing this? In fact, this doesn't work. In fact, instead, I just wished I have done all of this sooner. I wish I have started contributing to open source much sooner in my career instead of waiting for years. Like, I really wish somebody would have told me early on that there is this community. You know, in the first many years of my career, I did not interact with the community. And really, I just wish I could go back in time and redo all of that and just start contributing sooner. You know what happened was, I grew up in the 80s, 90s in Indonesia, and back then, girls had one purpose in life. That is to become a bride, to get married, to have children. So I didn't have role models or examples of people I want to be. I only have vision of who I do not want to be. But I did not know the possibilities of what is it I could do outside of, being a bride. But maybe you're thinking, of course, it's normal. Every parent want their children to settle down, have family. But it wasn't it wasn't like that. It was more like the expectation is that that's the only thing girls can do. Everything else was discouraged. You know, back then it was common that girls didn't have higher education. My mother didn't have high school, didn't graduate high school. My grandmother is illiterate. So I was rarely encouraged, and it's just how it was back then. Because they too didn't know there is possibility outside of women being a bride. And so it was always discouragement that I hear, like, why do you need to study? Why do you need to work? If you work, who will watch the children? Who will clean the house? Who will cook for your husband? So look, all those kind of line of questioning made you feel inside that it's bad to want to study, to work. But unfortunately for my parents, I was rebellious. So I studied, I went abroad, and I really see the difference. Like when my brother graduated just 1 year earlier than me, he was encouraged, pushed. They have, they were helping him applying for college, and I did it all by myself. Nobody was helping. I did my own research. I applied for my own, English tests. I did it all by myself because I left the country. I studied, I work. I got married, I have children, but I continued to pursue my passion. But after working for a little bit, I realized that somehow I wasn't advancing in my career. And I don't not understand why. Like I thought if I just work hard, I'll get promoted. But yet I was finding I was working on the same thing for years. I would see my coworkers who had less experience, they got promoted. So I was just waiting. I thought maybe my turn is next, but never happened. I was stuck. Like I did not realize until much later that there is this thing called the glass ceiling, the bamboo ceiling. This is metaphor for when women was just, it's an invisible barrier for women from advancing in their career. And bamboo ceiling is the same thing except, when it applies to Asian Americans. There is stereotypes and racism that they don't advance past a certain level. And I was unprepared. I thought I'll be different. Like I just thought this would never happen to me. And yet it was happening to me. And so I was trying to find different ways to advance my career. And the turning point for me was really attending Python conference, attending Pycon US 2015. This was 2015 US, Pycon US was the first time I ever attended a Python conference and meet the community, and that really changed my life. At Pycon US 2015, I went to Pi Ladies Lunch. At this Pi Ladies Lunch, there is a room of 100 women doing Python. You know, at that time, that was the first time I see so many women doing program. Before that, I know maybe 6 other women who does Python. And that, you know, that's for the first time in my life, I feel like I belong. It was also at that conference that I actually see a lot of women speaking. I see Asian women who look like me speaking at the conference. And just seeing someone who looked like me on the stage was enough to inspire me to want to be like her. Like, for the first time, I feel like I have a role model to look up to. And so it inspired me. I started applying to give talks, and then I got talk accepted. So I got a talk accepted, but one day before my first ever talk, I suddenly felt scared, nervous. Suddenly, one day before the talk, I have imposter syndrome. And because up till that point, all I ever hear was discouragement. My inner voice was discouraging me from speaking. So whenever I wanted to do something, it's always I have to fight this thought that I'm not good enough. And yet there was a tiny part of me that still wanted to do it anyway. And I just feel lucky, actually. By then, I have found the Pi Ladies community. So I asked for help, and I was asking for help, but I didn't even realize it back then. But I didn't need any help. My talk was good. I just needed to hear. I just needed to hear a word of encouragement, just from one person. And that was good enough. Just one person who say, yes, this is good. And that's all. And that's how I started my ice cream selfie tradition. I gave a talk. And because I felt like it's such a big deal, I wanted to celebrate, so I went to get ice cream. And I started doing more. I do more ice cream selfies. I give talks. Each time I finished, I go for ice cream. And I've been doing that for the last 8 years. All over the world. Italy, Germany, Brazil, Australia, America. Well, I plan to do one after this, so you have to tell me where to get ice cream in Jogja. So it was through this community, through all of these experiences, speaking and contributing to open source, that I learned new skills. I gained lots of new experiences. Like at work, I was limited to the kind of things I could do, the things I could work on it. I was told to just do certain thing. But in open source community, I can do whatever I want, and it's really exciting. I get to learn without needing permission, and I get exposed to things that I just don't normally see at work. And because I learned so much and gained all of these experiences, then I found new opportunities to finally advance my career. And it was the Python community that showed me what is possible. The Python community showed all the different paths I could take, all the doors I never thought existed, all the things I never knew I could do this. And because I did all of that, then I started to earn respect and recognition and privileges to finally break those barriers. Having this kind of awards that I mentioned from organizations like the PSF, it means a lot to people like me. And these are the things I cannot spend money on. Like, there's no price for it. So I've done all of that. I've learned things, gained experience, my career improved. And then people are asking, like, why are you still doing this then? Because when I travel, I meet lots of community members, and I'm hearing stories from them. I'm hearing stories of people who face the same challenges I faced. Like, I'm not alone. I know there are others who are still facing all of these barriers, who are still feeling like they're not good enough. They're looking for ways to advance, and they're asking if I have advice. And most of these people who have the challenges a lot of them are women. A lot of them are people from Asia. And that's why I'm here. You know, I have the Python community helping me, supporting me, and I just wish that you know about Python community too. And I'm here because I want to help the communities figuring out what can I do to help you overcome all of these challenges. And I know from my own personal experience, like, so powerful it is to have a role model that you can feel relate to. You know, just like when I saw another woman like me, it inspires me to want to be like her. And I think our community is very diverse. We need to have more role models from not just from America, but role models from all over the world, from this community, from APAC, from Indonesia. And so I hope by showing like just what you can do within the Python community, I hope you can be inspired too and start being involved. And to me, I actually don't think I'm a good role model. I'm far away in Canada. I really think Indonesia, the APAC community, you need role models from within your own community, someone you really feel related to. And I don't think that's me. So this community actually needs you. What I can do is just to share all of these opportunities that's available, to show it to you so that you too can learn about it and do more of it yourself. I just wanted to share all of this, the doors that existed. And I also realized that from all my years contributing to open source community, just because it's open out there, just because there is a door of opportunity, does not mean you will be let in. Well, first you need to know where is that door, where is the opportunity, and that's what I'm trying to help. I want to help you discover that door. But sometimes it's easier if someone from the inside invite you in. And I feel this should be our responsibility from people in North America, like to welcome more people from all over the world into the world of open source. So I just wanted to say, you belong here. The Python community is your community too. And your voice, your contributions matter. It's needed by your community. We all need more contributions from APAC, from Indonesia, from Asia, from outside of North America and Europe. And it is you who can have the power. It is you who can inspire the community members around you. So, how can you get started contributing and be involved? Contributing to open source is one way, definitely one way, but it's not the only way. There are so many other ways to be involved and participate and contribute to the community. Like all of these different activities, they matter. You teach, you host events, you mentor someone else, you speak, tell people about Python, you do translations. It's really impactful to the community. Write documentations, blog, all of this matters. You don't need to do all of them as long as you do something. So how to get started contributing to open source? The first thing is always find their contributors guide. If the project doesn't have contributors guide, maybe that's a little too advanced. If you're the first time contributing, find a project that has contributors guide. For all the projects I know, it's the same process. You read the contributing guide, you start, find issues and create pull requests. I think that's kind of obvious. But what's not obvious is that you really need to commit to contributing to open source. It's not just, oh, I create one PR and I'm done. You can, but to become maintainer, to be more involved with the community, you really need to spend time, not just one time. So it will require some time commitment. You do need to be around, like you need to watch the repository. As a core developer, as a maintainer, the moment I became a maintainer of any project, I got subscribed. I know this subscribe is a funny word nowadays. I got subscribed to all notifications that comes in so that I know all the issues that's coming in, all the pull requests that's coming in. That's what I have to do once I become a maintainer. But you don't need to wait until you become maintainer to subscribe to events. So subscribe and get notified of pull requests so that you can be more active. You can start responding and participate and contribute. And in the open source community, you really need to be opinionated. You need to speak up. Don't just lurk and read, maybe in the beginning, yes, you will lurk, you read the messages, but eventually you need to be brave and leave comments. And I know this can be a scary thing at first, like sharing your opinion publicly on open source discussion forum. I felt the same the first time I was told to just post that on the mailing list. That was scary. And I feel like, especially in Asia, and I talk to a lot of Asian people. I'm from Indonesia too. Like, I know we were told to be humble, be polite, don't talk back, you know. We think that our opinion don't really matter. Maybe we think that we're just not good enough. We need to be better and better. We need to be the president of something before we can share opinion. Well, the open source community currently is not, they're not Asian people. They don't care about all of this. So don't feel afraid that you're not good enough to participate. Just start participating. You are good enough. You really do not need to be, I don't know, like a CTO or something. We actually have a few in the Python core developers. We have a few university students who become core developer. Like, they don't even have job experience and they could do it. You know, you are good enough. You can do it. Another way to be involved is to translate content, because as Anthony mentioned yesterday, by default, all of the content of Python is in English. But English language is a barrier to a lot of people. And you can help your community by lowering that barrier, by doing this translation. This is work that core developers cannot do. Out of all the core developers, I'm the only one who speaks Bahasa Indonesia. Like, we cannot be translating our documentation, but you can. So wouldn't it be awesome if we have Bahasa Indonesia here? It's so cool. This is possible. You know what you need to do? You need to translate these 3 sections, 100% translated. Then we will add that language switcher. Right now, and you don't need to start from scratch. There is already work started. I checked that. Looks like the Python, the Indonesian language Python documentation is right now stuck at 11%. I think last commit was 3 years ago for Python 3.9. So, Indonesia, kamu bisa, you can do this. Yeah? If anything, I was joking with my friend Dong here, like, we Asians, when we are given homework, kalau dikasih PR, pasti selesai. We can do our homework, so I will give this homework to you. There's like 200 million Indonesian. You know, if we just take one page, each of you here translate one page, maybe we'll be done tomorrow. You can do this. I think it would be cool if we have this. Yeah. Catat, ada homework, ada PR. Let's see. Another thing you can do is to become a member of the PSF. You know, the basic PSF membership is free, and I heard, you might have heard already, if you become a new PSF member, At this conference, you get a very special edition sticker from Chuck, Georgie, and Kwanhan. And yay, they're there. And they are in a PSF booth on the second floor. So what is the PSF? The PSF is focused on empowering and supporting people within the Python community. The PSF has grants, like money, funding, and they support things like development sprints, conferences, meetups, like these are funding that can be used to build community. So as a member of the community, you can receive such grants and support. And as a member of the community, you can influence the decision of how and who receives these grants. So you should ensure that your community is represented in the PSF. Like Georgie said yesterday, like it's important that we have leaders who listen to what the community needs. And you want to have leaders who will listen to you. You need leaders from within your community. We really need to have more diverse representative in the PSF board of directors. So, to ensure that your community is represented, you're going to need to become a voting member of the PSF. With this special class of membership, you get to vote in PSF elections. And to become a voting member, you can do different things. The first thing that you might be able to do is just dedicate 5 hours per month to contribute to Python. And when I say contribute to Python, I don't mean just contribute code to CPython. I really mean all of those, the things I mentioned earlier, all the different ways to participate in the community, documentation, translations, running events in your community, those matters. You can become a member, and I hope that all of the conference organizers here sign up to be a voting member if you haven't done already. Like the secret is that they're not asking for timesheets. You don't need to write down, yes, I work 5 hours for Python. The PSF, we know, if you run conference, if you contribute to open source, that takes more than 5 hours a month. So please become a voting member. Please be active in the community and become a voting member of the PSF. If you don't have time to contribute, that's okay. Another way is to donate to the PSF. Usually, the minimum donation is $99 for people who get income from America. But the PSF has realized that $99 is difficult number for outside of America. So there is this sliding scale. If you are outside of America in Asia, you can donate $25, which is about 400,000 rupiah. The third way to get voting right in the PSF is by becoming a PSF fellow member. PSF fellow member is a lifetime membership that you need to be nominated by the community to receive this kind of special membership. And so this is your next homework. This is my ask for you from the APAC and Indonesian community. Go and nominate the community members from here so that they could receive these awards, these recognitions, so that they can become a voting member, so that they can advocate for the wider Python community here. And I know that the word award may sound intimidating. Like you may think that, oh, I'm just doing this locally. It's not important enough. You don't deserve this. You're wrong. The important part is that you are doing it. You are building. Like Indonesia, again, 200 million, 200 million people here. You're building a large community. It matters. So, homework, write it down, please. Nominate community members here from Indonesia. Nominate the conference organizers, the meetup organizers here. I want to see more PSF fellow members from APAC, from Indonesia. So the PSF fellow is selected quarterly. Right now, like the nomination deadline for quarter 3 is November 20. So you have a few weeks. So go check. You can talk to me, talk to any of the PSF board of directors here on how you can nominate people. And if you know women in the community who has done amazing work, there's a different award in addition to being PSF community member award or a PSF fellow. You can nominate them for outstanding Pi Lady award. So go and give recognition to people here who are doing great work. Go to the Pi Ladies website to learn about it. And also just talk to me, talk to Georgie and Chuck. We'll help you figure out how to nominate someone. We really need, I need to see more of you to participate in the community more. Again, Indonesia is one of the most populous countries in the world, and yet the leaders of the Python community, like the PSF board of directors, they're mostly North American based or European. I just feel we're not being represented. And representation really matters. There's another area where there is a gap in the Python leadership. Like I mentioned, I'm a Python core developer, I'm a maintainer, but out of the 100 core developers right now, there are 8 women. Like I can count with my fingers. There is still a gap there. There is still the barriers, the same barriers we all face, that women aren't advancing. So we need help on making this gap smaller. The fact is that the last time a woman was promoted to become a Python core developer was 23 men ago. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it's because there's no women interested. I don't think it's because we don't know how to contribute or how to do Python. There is a gap. And again, we are trying, I know I'm trying to make this gap smaller and smaller, one step at a time. What I can do is simply show that this is a possibility. I can show the opportunities, but I still need people from the other side to actually show up, take these opportunities and start contributing. So yeah, if you want to learn more about Pi Ladies, we will have an AMA session in about, I guess, 15 minutes with Georgie, and I'll be there too in class 6 3C. There will be also another AMA about contributing to Python. Maybe at 2 p.m. today, I will be there. I don't have presentation or anything. I just think that let's just chat, let's just have a dialogue, like let's talk about what we can do, what you can do, or how I can help so that you can be on your way and start contributing. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. Again, I want to thank all of you for coming. This is really a big deal. Again, I want to thank all the conference organizers, all the volunteers, all the speakers, sponsors, and thanks for hosting us here. It's a really beautiful venue. I love it. So thank you so much.
Okay. Do you receive questions, ma'am?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, is anyone want to ask? Okay. Oh, a man right there.
Yeah. Hi, Mbak. I call you Mbak. It's okay,
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for your wonderful presentation and very insightful experience. It's really eye-opening for me because I don't join any Python community, but after listening to your presentation, I think I will join one after this.
Thank you.
My question is simple. Since you joined the community maybe around 2015, if I'm not mistaken, so almost 10 years joining community, have you ever faced conflict with other community members? And if yes, can you share how do you resolve the conflict with other members? And is there any lesson learnings for us to manage conflict with other community members? I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a great question. And I faced conflict pretty much early on in my journey in contributing to Python. And again, there is like cultural barrier, cultural clash between me and most of the majority of the open source communities. There were times that I saw something on the mailing list that I felt offensive. As a woman, I felt offended by it. But because most of the group are not women, they don't see anything wrong with it. And I experience this less now, especially after becoming a core developer. Like I feel like, again, I said respect. People watch their behavior in front of me. But early on, it happened, and what helped me, at that time, I felt lucky that I actually have mentors from the community who I can ask for advice. I could privately express like having this conflict with other people and what should I do, and they advise me what to do. They help report it to the Code of Conduct Committee. That's how it went for me, and I think this is a great question because I realize now that even though I was lucky to have mentor, I know most people, they're on it on their own and they don't have someone from the inside who they can reach out to. And I'm just hoping that people trust me enough that if you have something happening, you can talk to me or talk to Georgie, Chuck, like talk to any PSF community. We have code of conduct for a reason. We want to make this welcoming space for everybody. Yeah, so I hope that helps.
Well, thank you. Okay, we can open for one more question. Okay, please.
Morning, Miss. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sabnur Rahim. I am leader Tangerang Python, Karangpai, also part of Python Indonesia. I want to ask how to efficiently and powerfully maintain this community graph. I want to ask how to effectively and powerfully maintain this community graph. Please support me helpfully. The Tangerang community group will run smoothly and successfully. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't catch the question. Can somebody say it to me?
Again.
Sorry, the question is how we can collaborate with the community?
And how to maintain the group,
How to maintain the group?
community group.
I feel like there is a language barrier that I noticed. We in Indonesia, when you post on social media, it's in Indonesian, and some people in North America, we don't get news when it's not in English. And I know it's our fault. It's not you, we should be more welcoming of non-English language content. The Python community is very active in Mastodon now, and a lot of them consume content in English. Again, I wish it's not the case. I think it's really important for us in America and Europe to learn more about you. It would be great if just give a shout out about community activities in Indonesia and do it in both languages, Indonesian and English, so that we can repost it, we can share it, we will have more visibility of the things you do outside of America, because I think that's the missing part. Like, we are not aware of all of your contributions, even though they are really amazing. So that's my one suggestions. I wish for you all to be able to meet the Python community members in North America, like come to Pycon US, which is something that Georgie has shown yesterday, and that's how I met a lot of people and find new opportunities. Try to come to conferences, meet other communities. Now, the second question about how to maintain the community. It's hard. What I suggest is don't do it alone, have a group, and enable your group members to take ownership. I feel that I've seen some communities, they have leaders or the boss, like there's one person who have all the keys to everything. You need to get permission from one person, and that person becomes the bottleneck, like nothing else gets done until this one person says, okay, here's the key, do it. So I really recommend you be willing to delegate tasks to your community members. Don't just think that just because you are the leader, I must do everything. Empower your community members. Let them help. Let them do things. Write documentation, the process of how you run things, like train them so that they can do the stuff you do. The more people get to do it, that's how the community can grow. That's how you can continue the community even after maybe you, I don't know, for whatever life reasons, you need to pause for a while. There will be someone else who can continue for you. So I hope that helps. All right.
Well, thank you. This is the end of the session of Mrs. Marietta. Thank you very much for bringing us a very productive session today.
Thank you.
Well, so if you are interested about PyLadies that Mrs. Marietta Wijaya, Mrs. Georgie Gore, and Mrs. Choktenho do, you can attend a class about it with Mrs. Georgie Gore in class 6-3C at 10:30 p.m. And also Mrs. Marietta will have a general talk about AMA and conversation about contributing to Python and open source in class 5-3B at 2 p.m. Maybe you can take notes. I will repeat. A talk about PyLadies will be conducted in class 6-3C at 10:30 p.m. right after the session in main hall, and also at 2 p.m. in class 5-3B. Mrs. Marietta Wijaya will have a general talk about AMA and conversation about contributing to Python and open source. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Pycon APAC 2024 committee, we would like to say thank you for your kind participation this morning. Once again, I would like to remind you that there are going to be class sessions on the third and fourth class. The lunch will be provided on the same floor where you take the class after the second session in each class. Coffee is available on the second floor, and please feel free to enjoy your meal on floors 2 to 6 or in the main hall. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am Fadila. Thank you very much for your attention. I wish you an enjoyable and fruitful conference. Goodbye. See you on the closing ceremony. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.